This is Jan. At the moment he's playing Hans Christian Andersen. But in a few minutes, he will be playing the accordion. I'm sure you know a lot of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. But he wrote songs as well. Little crook each one when the pains are somewhat small. In the door is saggy old doggy box that's in his home. On the eaves the swallows twitter, sun is setting, now etc. Well, now we'll begin. And when the story ends, we know a lot more about Hans Christian Andersen than we know now. So, it's a dreadful affair. Said a hen, but she said it in the part of town where the incidents had not taken place. It's a dreadful affair! I won't dare sleep alone tonight! Thankful there's so many of us on the roost! And then she told them her story in such a way that the other hen's feathers stood on end and even the rooster's comb dropped. It's perfectly true. But we'll begin at the beginning. And that was at the other end of town, in a hen house. The sun went down, the hens flew up, and one of them preened herself with her beak. And then a tiny white feather fluttered down. One feather's gone, she said. The more I preen myself, the prettier I shall become, no doubt. She said it only in fun, and then she fell asleep. All was dark. Hen sat with hen, and the white hen's neighbor was still awake. She had heard, and not heard. Heard, and not heard. As one must do in this world for the sake of living in peace and quiet. But she couldn't help telling her neighboring hen, perched to the other side of her. Did you hear? I won't mention any names, but there's a hen who means to pluck out all her feathers just to look smart. If I were the rooster, I'll simply despise her. Above the hens sat the owl, with Father Owl and her owl children. They have sharp ears in that family, and they heard every word the neighboring hen said, and they rolled their eyes, and Mother Owl fanned her wings. Oh, don't pay any notice. But you heard what she said, didn't you? Oh. I heard it with my own ears, and they will hear that before they drop off. There's a hen who has totally lost her sense of good manners, that she is plucking out all her feathers. With the rooster looking on the whole time. That's not for the children to hear, but I must tell the owl across the street. She's so highly respected. And away flew Mother Owl. She hooted, and that's straight into the neighboring pigeon house. Have you heard? Have you heard? There's a hen who has plucked out all her feathers for the sake of the rooster. She freezes to death if she hasn't already.
Oh, well,
cooed the pigeons. In the hen house opposite. I as good as saw it myself. The affair is almost too indecent to tell, but it's perfectly true. Said a pigeon, cooling it right into their hen house.
there's a hen who has knocked out all her feathers to look different from the rest. Some say they are two. You can catch a cold and die of fever. And they died, both of them.
Wake up! Wake up! Crowed the rooster. 3 hens have died from a broken heart to a rooster. They have plucked out all the feathers. It's a dreadful affair. I don't want to keep it. Pass it on!
Pass it on, squeaked the bats.
The hens clucked. The rooster crowed.
Pass it on, pass it on.
And the story flew from one hen house to another, one hen house to another, until it at last returned to the place where it really started.
The 5 hens who have all plucked out their feathers to show which one of them have lost most weight for the love of a rooster.
And then they pecked one another until blood fled, and all 5 of them fell down dead. To the shame and disgrace of their relatives, and the great loss of their owner. And the hen who had lost the tiny white feather, of course didn't recognize her own story again. And being a respectable hen, she said, "How I despise those hens! But they are more just like them. It's not to be concealed. And I will do my very best to put the story into the papers. Then it will be spread all over the country. It will serve those hens right, and their relative too." And it was put into the papers, all in clear print. And it's perfectly true. One tiny feather can easily become 5 hens. As much gossip there were among the hens, as much gossip there were about Hans Christian Andersen. Many books have been written about him, and people talked about him, so it might be very difficult to know what is really true. But one thing we know for sure. He was born in a small hut. He was born in a small hut. Don't sit there preening yourself. You interrupted.
I'm just getting myself ready.
You must wait.
It must be my turn. I know a poem!
It has to be a very small poem.
I really need to be on stage.
Oh, what was it you wanted?
I want to recite a small poem. Is my hair all right?
Now you try. The stage is all yours.
Oh. I would like to recite a small poem. One was made for prose and one for poetry. One was made for cucumbers and one for potpourri. I've written it myself. Wasn't it good?
Yes, it was fine. But you interrupted me. I was just beginning my tale.
Oh.
So be quiet. Well, Hans Christian Andersen was born in Odense.
In Denmark I am born, is my own.
Quiet! Just believe me. Well, almost 200 years ago, a little poor family lived in a small cottage. What's wrong?
Try and see what I'm supposed to be.
You look sour.
Yes, and then I'm something,
Something sour.
yes, you're right, I'm a lemon. Oh, you're nice, the nicest, and a bit good looking too.
Be quiet, please. Once upon a time,
I didn't say anything.
no, you didn't say it. But you're going straight back into the desk. No!
I don't want to go into that dark, cramped desk. I'm so afraid of the dark, and there's no room for my big wings and my long neck.
Big wings and long neck. You look most of all like a small ugly duckling.
Oh, maybe I look that way, but I'm sure there's a swarm inside me.
You can sit in this chair. Then I will tell about someone who lived cramped, even more cramped than you.
Nobody lives more cramped than I.
Sit. And not another sound from you, understood? All right. Almost 200 years ago, a little poor family lived in a small cottage in Odense. There was the father, the mother, and little Hans Christian. Yes, we may come in. They only had one room. Here they ate, here they slept, and here the father had his shoemaker workshop. He was a shoemaker. They had very little room, but here they lived.
I ran about in wooden shoes and went to school for poor boys. Though I had little left to lose, I found all things were my toys. My father told me by and by to be a decent fellow. His fairy tales were good, so I became a storyteller.
The little Hans Christian was a very quiet child. He didn't have any playmates because they thought him strange. And in the school he sat daydreaming. But there were two things he liked the most.